show. Great guests waiting backstage. Before we meet them, who else has been meeting this week? Oh, well, Boris Johnson met with Sir David Attenborough to announce a new climate change conference. It's a meeting of minds. The world's greatest naturalist observing a golden-crested tit. Yeah. They discussed the impact of climate change on some of the world's most exotic creatures, like this one. Which reminds me, Donald Trump has been in the news. Yes, he has. President Trump has been acquitted of his impeachment charges. Now, it meant he was in confident mood at the State of the Union speech. That's the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, behind him there, thinking, I wonder if there's a subtle way I can show Trump what I think of his speech. Yes, there was. She actually ripped up Donald Trump's speech. And like, those are two things you don't often hear in the same sentence. Donald Trump and ripped. So with the impeachment quashed, Trump is now confident he'll get 4 more years, which by his reckoning makes a total of... close. Hey, let's get some guests on! Later, we'll have music from American superstar Alicia Keys! Yeah! But first, she's one of our favourite actors about to star in the new series from the creators of Downton Abbey. Please welcome back Tamsin Greig, everybody! You know, okay. Good, Tamsin. Good, Tamsin. Hello, darling. You look so slinky and stylish.
Thank you, thanks.
We have the 2 stars of the hilarious new sitcom Intelligence. One is the writer and creator of the series and a rising star of British comedy. The other is simply a sitcom legend. It's Nick Mohammed and the great David Schwimmer! Three-time Oscar-nominated actor has starred in Foxcatcher, The Kids Are All Right, Spotlight, and the Avengers franchise as the Incredible Hulk. Please welcome our friend Mark Ruffalo! Nice to see you. Have a seat now. Hey! Oh, look at that. A little bit of bonding and greeting. That's lovely.
We like each other.
Yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome. And David Schwimmer, you've never been on the show before.
I've not. Thanks for never inviting me.
Oh, no, that can't be true. That can't be true.
No, I'm really...
Well, we're very nice to see you. Yeah. And here's a weird thing. You don't meet many of these people. David Schwimmer, you are sitting next door to a unicorn. Mark Ruffalo, tell David an interesting fact about yourself. You know the fact.
I come from Kenosha, Wisconsin.
That's one of them. No, you've never seen Friends, have you?
I wish
you must have seen, like, you must have seen...
I've seen a lot of parts of it. It's not... No, it's not you.
It's totally fine.
Me.
But that must be rare.
It is. I think I'm the only one
Okay,
in this
I've got an
audience.
admission to make, okay? When I was sent the script of episodes, and I read the first episode of episodes, and it said, and who's going to be in your show? Matt LeBlanc. And I did have to Google him.
No.
So, yeah, we're
I'm so sorry, David. He's only supposed to be one person, and then the rest of the show was just going to be bigging you up.
You've seen it, right? You've seen
Nick, do you know who he is?
Sorry, which sitcom is this?
Okay, I'm going to get a DVD set to...
I appreciate it.
Listen, let's start, ladies and gentlemen, with our movie of the night. Mark Ruffalo brings us Dark Waters. Now, this is out on the 28th of February, and it's an extraordinary true story of a kind of cover-up in corporate America that I didn't know. Do Americans know this story?
No.
OK, so tell us about the story and who you play, because he's sort of an unlikely hero in this story.
Yes. It's about a lawyer, a chemical defense lawyer, a corporate defense lawyer, who hears from a farmer that he knew when he was a boy that his cows were dying and that he thinks it's DuPont's landfill that's killing them. And he says he's going to help this guy out because he's a family friend, and he basically uncovers probably one of the biggest corporate crimes in history, where DuPont has poisoned all of us in the whole world, we all have these chemicals in us now.
Because it revolves around the chemical in Teflon, right?
Yes, it's the chemical in Teflon, but it's in all of our stain-resistant carpeting, fabrics, water-resistant eye makeup. It's everywhere.
Spoiler.
Should we just end the show?
The statistics at the end of this film are mind-boggling.
Yeah. This guy is one of the most beautiful, heroic people. He lost, I mean, any kind of promotions. He gave up his salary. People hated him for this work, and he is just the most generous, beautiful guy who did such a great service for all of us.
And you're not just saying that because I think, is he here?
Is he?
No, he is, isn't he? Rob Bellot? Is it Bellot? Bellot.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Will you stand up, Rob, please? He hates this.
So... yeah. And this is one of those extraordinary things, Rob, that sometimes happens to people, that you end up being in a movie. But what struck me watching the... So your wife is also in the movie. Because you have rows in the movie. Like, so, was that okay? Was that okay at home?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is your wife with you?
No.
No, okay. There we leave Rob Bellot in the audience. Is this the work you're still doing, Rob?
Yes, yeah, it's still going on.
People still bringing cases against DuPont?
Yes, and it's spread all over the planet at this point. It's in the water everywhere. It's in everyone's blood in this room. Everyone's blood on the whole planet.
If this was a different channel, we'd go to commercial now.
Maybe you should go to a commercial.
Yeah, where we could sell some cleaning products. But listen, I'll tell you what, a good clip. This is you talking to your wife, played by Anne Hathaway, the great Anne Hathaway.
That's right.
And it's you kind of railing against the injustice. It's not going your way.
He's actually much more handsome than I played him in the movie. Sorry about that.
Talking of when you play real people, David Schwimmer, you famously played the original Kardashian in The People vs. O.J.
Robert Kardashian.
Yeah, Robert Kardashian. Obviously, he wasn't around to talk to, but did you get feedback from people who knew him, or from the rest of the Kardashians, or?
I mean, they had reached out to me. His daughters had reached out to me to meet. But I didn't really think it was relevant to meet with them because they were so young at the time. And also, they wanted to do it on camera, which I didn't see reason to do.
Oh, like to be part of their show?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd love to meet you.
Yeah. But I did talk to Chris, his widow, and she was very generous with her time. I spoke to her for about 2 hours, which was really, really helpful, really informative. So.
And also, is that weird thing? 'Cause that trial was all televised, so it's all you got all that to watch.
Yeah, a lot of it's documented.
Yeah,
so that helps.
And talking about Dark Waters, one of the good things about, I guess, for you talking about this film is going in. We know DuPont did it. You can't spoil this plot for us. Because your experience on Avengers, as you've had a litany of plot spoilers.
Excuse me? Me?
Well, no,
I'm the best.
You're marginally better than Tom Holland, but that's it. Yeah.
I taught Tom Holland.
Tell us about was it the premiere of Thor?
Oh, come on.
Oh, go on. Go on.
Oh,
it's all over now. They can't fire you. They can't fire you.
No, they tried.
So, if you don't know this story, this is what happened.
Are you cutting?
No, it's coming to you talking.
So they asked me to do social media backstage, and at that time it was like Facebook Live had just hit the apps. And so I was back there doing my Facebook living, and I thought I hit the off button, but I didn't realize it had 2 different off buttons. And I went out, ran to my seat. They started the movie. I put my phone in my pocket, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like 5 minutes in, and my phone is blowing up. I'm just like, bzz, bzz, bzz. And everyone and their mother was texting me from all over the world to tell me that my phone was on, and I was live broadcasting the movie. But of course, I'm a gentleman, so I don't check my phone in the movie. So finally, they sent a lady down, and she, hey. And I'm like, what? And she's like, your phone is on. I was like, no, it's not. It's in my pocket. She's like, it's on. And I pulled it out, and I just like, oh, shit. I get a call from Kevin Feige.
Oh, the big boss.
The boss. He's like, what are you doing, man? I said, Kevin, it was an accident. I swear to God. They told me to use the Facebook Live. I don't know how to use it. He's like, you can't do this stuff. I was like, no, you're right, sir. You're absolutely right.
Sir.
And the next day, I showed up to do press, and I'm hurting. I can't look anyone in the eyes. And I walk over to him to say sorry, and he grabs me in a bear hug. And he's like, that was genius! We got more press from that than the whole premiere! We couldn't have imagined doing something that good. All they heard was laughing.
Because Tamsin, you didn't see a lot of it, but your son brought you to the last one, the Endgame one.
Oh, yeah, so, I didn't know
You've never seen them.
Okay, so... I mean, I don't... there's a lot of folding of clothes to do at home, so, so, anyway, so I said, well, why don't we all go and see Endgame? We'll go as a family, it'd be a lovely thing, and, but maybe you could help me so I, know a bit of the story. And so one of my sons did a PowerPoint... Oh, it was so brilliant. He did a PowerPoint presentation of the whole story up to the end of Infinity War and went through the whole thing. He's a mathematician. He's very direct. He'll sit there and think, you go, what's the film about? And he'll tell you in one sentence. He's got this incredible brain. So he did this PowerPoint presentation and then a little quiz at the end just to test that we were listening. And I got full marks on the test.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's because, why he did it is because he knows that if we were in the cinema, I would be the one going, so what's the, what's the guy in green? Why is he so angry? So that's why he did his PowerPoint presentation. It was very helpful.
Because I feel, Nick, you can't prejudge people, but you seem to me like the sort of person who would be a big fan of these films.
Wow! You're such a stirrer!
That's a nice thing to say, right?
It's a very nice thing to say. I mean...
Don't come at me, Mark Ruffalo. You're in them. I'm saying he looks like someone who would love these films. You're going, don't be so rude.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You know he hates them! Oh, you don't?
Do you like them?
No, I've just never seen them.
You'd love them. You'd love them.
I would like them.
Yeah.
I think that, and I'm not just doing this because of what you did to David.
No, it's okay. I didn't do that to him.
True.
Yeah.
It wasn't to you.
No, I just don't know where to start now with them. What should I start with?
With my son.
The beginning.
Right? You're my son.
There's already a PowerPoint presentation getting you right up to speed.
This might sound like a stupid question. Is Endgame the last one?
It's the most recent one.
Where's my phone?
You're not going to do... Are you doing more of them?
I don't know.
You haven't said anything bad.
No.
You just said I don't know.
Who knows, really?
You do. No, we'll stop now, because would it be terrible if we got you fired? No.
No.
But yes, you are. Okay.
No, it's supposed to be over.
Okay.
That was supposed to be the end. That's why they
That was the
called
very
it.
end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you could work
Hence
backwards.
the title Endgame.
Yes. So here's the thing. So talking to Mark, going back to the Incredible Hulk and reprising that, and the odd thing about one of those characters, and you know, Ross and Friends, one of the things that people keep asking you about going back, but you don't need to, because it's still, was it 15 years since you did the last episode?
Yeah.
And it's still on. People are still coming to it. It's like you are still making it. Yeah.
It's,
Well, it must be the weirdest thing.
yeah, it's very similar to being a superhero in some of the biggest movies in the world. No, I'm a fan, by the way, of all the movies, so all of them.
I'm gonna watch them all tonight.
Yeah.
Binge watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're both surprised, the whole cast just really surprised, and also overjoyed that the show is still finding an audience, and younger generations are finding something fun about it. Really.
But also, you must meet people who are so young and like they're watching for the first
My
time.
daughters. My daughter watches it.
Well, that you would
Yeah.
think that's like a fun
12.
father-daughter activity.
But no, it's not. Yeah.
He got me.
Very good. Nick and David bring us a new sitcom, Intelligence. It's on Sky One from Friday the 21st of February. Also available on Now TV and as a Sky box set from that date. And now, Nick Mohammed, this is your baby. You created it, you
Yes.
wrote it. Tell us about it.
So it is I guess it's a workplace sitcom set in GCHQ, which is like the government communication headquarters. So like I guess a slightly less, slightly sort of less sort of sexy version of MI5, MI6 in terms of, or certainly the way they're portrayed in films and things is sort of quite actiony, whereas GCHQ doing a lot of the kind of data crunching and a lot of hugely important work to national security. So that's kind of the backdrop to it. That's where it's based, and it focuses on an NSA agent, played by David, who comes over and joins the team and sort of massively shakes things up.
OK, and who are you?
I play an analyst, like a really junior analyst, so the kind of, from like a profile point of view, it's very sort of similar to real life.
And here's the thing. So, Nick Mohammed, you write this is your sitcom for Sky One.
Yeah.
Great, congratulations.
Yes.
The question is, how the did you get David Schwimmer in it? How did that bit happen?
Genuinely,
Because he's a great writer.
that's great.
It is really funny. It is really
He
funny.
just emailed me. He just emailed me
emailed
with
David.
a great idea. I was like, that's really funny.
But also, you seem like you are a big fan of British comedy.
I am.
Yeah. How did that happen? How did you get introduced to it? Or
I guess I've always been, since I was a boy. I mean, I've watched, I think, as much as I can. Going way back from, as a kid, Monty Python and Clouseau, and I mean, just, I don't know, I've always been a big fan.
Yeah.
And I don't feel there's a huge difference between American comedy and British comedy. I guess I'm more attracted to character-driven comedy in a very funny situation. I also really like physical comedy. So you guys do a lot of great physical comedy as well.
And in this world, because it is quite a specific world that we don't really know, were you able to go, were you able to visit the actual place where they do this work?
No.
No. Because they're obviously very security conscious.
Oh, so boring.
I did a lot of research. I mean, if there wasn't a lot of alarms pinging there with my name, just...
Mr. Mohammed is doing us again.
He's looking into the specifics of terrorists. Oh.
It's a great cover, though, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just writing a TV show.
No, it's not a cover.
No, we were lucky enough.
Wow, it's a really elaborate cover. They've made it now.
My plan was to come on this. I mean, we
It's all working. It's all working.
I don't think we can show any of that.
So you play American comes over, and I think our clip is briefly after you've arrived, and Nick is trying to show you the way to the toilet.
Oh, right. Okay.
Really funny. Really funny. And now, is this in any way based, Nick, on your own work for the government? Because you did work for a government department, didn't you?
Very briefly. I mean, as a student, I worked for Department for Work and Pensions, but I worked at Morgan Stanley after I graduated, just before the crash, just a coincidence. Yeah, I guess it slightly is. I kind of love those environments where, I mean, particularly with Morgan Stanley, where the stakes are kind of pretty high. I mean, not on the level of GCHQ, but there is still a kind of I guess, a sort of an everydayness to it, an ordinariness to it that you kind of get used to. And in fact, one of the storylines well, that sort of kickstarts one of the episodes is that my character sort of deletes a load of really important files, and that was based on at Morgan Stanley, I accidentally deleted.
Lots of money.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Which is why we had to crash.
And it was, I think, it was important enough that when I left, they mentioned it in the leaving statement. I thought it was fine, but they were basically automatic trade, so effectively like standing orders. And I thought that I was just playing around with what I thought was a mirror server, so that if I deleted them, it wouldn't really matter because it wasn't like real world. It just sort of reflecting what was really going on. But I was really deleting them, so it was pretty, yeah.
OK. I think, long story short is, we're very glad you're now working in comedy.
Yeah.
I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief that you found your niche in life. That's all
You
good.
turn the TV on to watch it and it's not there, it's because you've gone delete.
The thing is, you know, we all do other jobs when we're starting out, and lots of people do the classic catering. David Schwimmer, you went one up from waiting tables. You did waiting tables with a little bit extra.
I waited tables for a long time, about 7 years, but my first gig was as a roller skating waiter at this. I was good. And it was at this really cool place in Chicago.
Really cool.
It was. It's called Ed de Bevic.
I worked at Ed de Bevic's. In LA, when they
That's right. They opened one in LA.
The stars that came out of this place.
Because you had to play a character.
Yeah, I was Romeo.
I was Frankie.
You roller skated as well?
No.
Oh, so only Romeo roller skated?
No, well, in Chicago, they had roller skating waiters.
Oh, right.
So, and I was roller skates and I was serving all the outdoor tables. So there was a huge parking lot and a pretty wide sidewalk with tables lined up like picnic tables where families would come and you'd make not very much money with minimum wage in the States, as you're aware, but you made a lot of money by performing stunts. So I would like line up people's kids and they would kneel next to each other in a line. I could probably jump over 3 or 4 at a time. I'm serious. And then I would say, hey, you guys want to see it? You know, the parents were like, yeah, go for it. And I would just take off down the street and jump all over, over them and then kind of like skid to a stop, and then I'd get, all these fancy tips from doing it. But you had to play a character, and my character was like Romeo the Romancer. He was kind of based a little on Travolta in, Grease or something. You know what I mean? It was a 50s diner, so I had a big pompadour and, bigger muscles at the time.
Is this from that time? Is this when you were Romeo?
No. Oh, man.
That was a whiff of Travolta.
I had that earring. I had that earring.
That screams Romeo.
Yeah, no, but my hair was not as long as that. It was more of a pompadour. But,
okay.
Yeah, similar embarrassing time.
And now, is there a reason why they didn't transfer the roller skating to the new branch in LA?
I don't know.
But wasn't there a story where somebody's stunt went wrong and they stopped the roller skating?
They're really lawsuit happy there.
I have no idea. Is that?
Oh, is
well,
that-
I
Did
had
you
nothing
ever go
do-
to the L.A. Debevix?
No, I think by the time I got
It was gone.
there, it was gone.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rob
with-
Ballard.
You
Rob
missed
Ballard
it.
is doing a class action of people who got hit by roller skates.
That's your next movie.
That's your next movie. Yeah, dark catering. So, you
That's
not
crazy.
just waited tables, you were a bartender, and I just love the idea. You would be such a good bartender, Mark Ruffalo.
Thank you.
A generous... don't you know he'd do a generous pour? He would always do a
Yeah,
generous pour,
yeah.
Mark Ruffalo.
I would do a generous.
Big heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Mostly because people would be like, "Come on, man." Really?
But no, but didn't you... You had your own cocktail.
I had the margarita. and
You could have gone with
Please
Ruffalo, but no, margarita.
But I ended up having, you know, I'd start early and I'd have my Thursday night crowd.
Yeah.
Partially because, and I'm sorry, Sean McPherson, wherever you are, I gave away a lot of free drinks. It wasn't a great quality in a bartender.
But you were good dealing with drunk customers, which is
I had to deal with a lot of drunk people, yes. And sometimes they were not very nice.
No.
There'd be nights where I'd be up to my eyeballs in a-holes. I'm
saying nothing.
Should I keep going?
I don't know what it's
What do you mean? What? Wait, what? What did I say?
Nothing.
Is that a spoiler?
No. Nothing. Nothing. No. So, no, wasn't there a guy who wanted... wasn't there a drunk guy...
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. Wasn't there a drunk
It
guy?
wasn't that kind of bar.
Wasn't there a drunk guy who wanted sambuca?
Yes, there was.
Okay, so tell us about him.
So occasionally, you would get someone who was so obnoxious, and it was the end of the night, and this guy came in, and he's like, all right, and he was wasted, and he was such an a-hole. And he's like, I want a Zambuca. I'm like, come on, man. You're doing okay. He's like, give me a Zambuca. And
Did he hit
Okay.
his knee like that? At the bar?
I thought, yeah.
give me a Zambuca. I'm like, okay. So I pour him the Zambuca. Light it! I'm not gonna light your drink, man. I don't like drinks. Okay, you wanna light your drink, you light your drink yourself. Light it! Okay. I light the drink. He takes it. And it goes all over his face, dripping down his face, blue flames everywhere. And I'm trying not to laugh. And he beats the hell out of himself to get it out. Give me another! Oh, sure thing. Want me to light it for you? Yes! Same thing all over again. It was one of the greatest nights.
I sort of like him for having another one.
I love them. He walked out with like a flaming red goatee.
That brings back a really painful memory.
It was you?
No.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
When I was like 12, 13, I was a late bloomer, but I had a premature mustache. Like I had hair there and nowhere else, right? I mean my head, of course. And I was begging my dad, because kids were making fun of me, like, hey, your stash, Schwimmer, your mustache, you know. And so I was begging my dad, hey, can I please shave? And my dad was like, you're too young to shave, I'm sorry. But I took matters into my own hand, and I borrowed some of my sister's Nair.
Oh, no.
And for those of you who don't know, it's like a chemical hair removal.
We call it IMAC, I think.
IMAC.
IMAC, yeah.
Oh, okay, so I put it on my lip, but I left it on too long. So I had a burn mark.
Just like the guy.
Just like the guy. Only it was, you know, I had to then go to school, and everyone knew I had tried to take my hair off, and they're like, what the? And so all these other names. So I'm sorry to relive that trauma, but I want to share that. So.
Very good. Moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, Tamsin Greig, a very posh new product for us. It's called Belgravia. This will be on ITV next month, and this is from the creators of Downton, but it's not Downton. It's set earlier, isn't it? It's 18... I mean, it begins 1815, but then most of it's 1840s kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm on it. OK, so who do you play? What is this world that we're being introduced in?
This is the world in the middle of the 19th century when the middle classes were rising up and threatening the elite, the upper classes. I play Anne Trenchard, who is from the rising classes, the nouveau riche. She has a secret which she reveals to her nemesis, played by Harriet Walter, who... and this is a catalyst for all sorts of terrible things to occur.
And it is kind of brilliantly twisty-turny, and as you mentioned, it's a bit of, you know, because a lot of times in these sorts of series, it's just the rich people and then the staff. And this is a kind of a world we haven't seen before, this kind of merchant class.
Yeah.
Who are as rich as the rich people.
Absolutely, and James Trenchard, who Anne Trenchard is married to, played by the wonderful Philip Glenister, is the epitome of the merchant class who's basically built Belgravia, which is this very wealthy area of London, which was built by the Cubitt brothers, and he goes into business with them. So he suddenly has the kind of power and access which, you know, an oik, a grunt, shouldn't have.
OK, we've got a clip. This is you talking to Lady Brockenhurst, played by Harriet Walter, with whom you've shared your secret. It's so good. You're great in it. Really, really good. And it's one thing being recognised for, you know, a huge sitcom or a big movie franchise, but Tamsin Greig, global recognition from a radio show, the Radio 4, The Archers.
Yeah, for my voice, yeah.
Yes. Now, I don't know, Nick, you must know The Archers.
Yeah.
So what do you like?
I just know, yeah.
You guys, do you know The Archers? Do you know of The Archers?
Sure.
No, how do you... It's an everyday... What is it? Everyday rural
It's an
folk?
everyday tale of farming folk that was started in 1951. It was a radio show. It's a continuing drama. It's been going since then for more than 60 years.
Who do you play?
So I play a character in that who's a farmer. She's the daughter of the richest farmer in the area. She now lives in Hungary, and she runs a big farming concession there in Hungary, but also comes over to cause trouble. And they moved me out to Hungary when I became less available to voice Debbie Aldrich.
But you still dip in.
I dip in every now and then, but people do tend to remember my voice.
But sometimes it's not your voice. Were you in a DIY shop?
OK, so I was 9 months pregnant with my last child, so I was really big. And you get to 9 months, you think, oh, I'd better decorate, because that's the best time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I was on my hands and knees, trying to get some paint from the bottom shelf, right at the back. So my big, pregnant arse was right up in the air, like going down like that. And I heard someone from behind me say, well, if it isn't Debbie Aldrich. Which is the name of the character that I play.
Yeah.
And,
On the radio.
On the radio.
But you said...
Who was the guy?
The guy, I had no idea.
Oh, it's just a random person.
He just, I don't know.
A fan. He was a fan.
How did he recognize you, seriously?
I don't know.
Was it because of the...
Us.
Oh! Did the character, was she known to have a...
No, I don't know how it
radio.
happened.
You really haven't listened to the Archers. They don't discuss Debbie's arse. Can you imagine them singing, oh, Debbie's arse?
Not that kind of show.
It's not the kind of show. But you still go up to Birmingham to do it. And now, do you still drive yourself?
I used to drive a lot, just go up and down, and I'd planned it perfectly. I had to leave the house at 8:30 to get to the recording studio, which was 2.5 hours away in Birmingham at 11 o'clock. And so I parked my car outside the house where I was living in, which was on a single yellow line, which means you can only park there until a certain time. I thought that was 8:30. I parked it there. About 8:15, I heard this noise outside, and I thought, it's not the bin men today. The garbage collector.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Very good, very good. Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah, bin men. So I said, it's not a bin day. What's that truck? I looked outside, and my car was being put on the back of a tow-away truck because I was only allowed to park there until 8 o'clock. And it was, I know, people are tutting for me. That's the real British way. They go...
Cup of tea, dear.
to get over the loss of your car. And so I rushed outside, and I was saying to the guy, the car is sort of swaying about this, and I said to the guy, what I wanted to say was, I have to drive to Birmingham now to do my job. Please, could you not take my car, because I will lose my job. I was panicking, and what I said was, you can't do this to me, I'm in the Archers.
Were the Archers fans?
Yeah, the guy looked at his mate, he goes, put the car on the fucking back.
Very good. OK, it's time for music. This 15-time Grammy Award winner has been writing songs since the age of 12, including hits like Falling, Empire State of Mind, and Girl on Fire. Here performing her new single, Underdog. Please welcome Alicia Keys! Alicia Keys, everybody! And her band, if I can just come on over and do... Alicia Keys! That was gorgeous. Gorgeous. Come in and say hello to everybody. Nick Mohammed, David Schwimmer, Mark Ruffalo, Alicia Keys!
Legend. You're amazing.
Yeah, do you want to go
Very good.
It's a
Thank
little
you so much for
crowded
that.
on this couch.
There's a shift on the sofa.
Plenty of room? Is this fine?
Yeah, wherever.
We had
now.
to add some more feminine energy out here.
Yeah, we did that.
I just touched your bum, I'm really sorry. Just in case somebody saw that.
That is from the new album, Alicia.
Yes.
Is this out now? Is it out now?
March 20th.
Oh, you're so on it. Well done,
Hey.
you. Yeah. And now I heard you talking about this album, and you were saying it's sort of... that you feel it's a different side of Alicia Keys that we haven't seen before.
I wanted to show all sides of me. I think that in some ways I haven't shown the full breadth of all that I am. And I think sometimes we get a little nervous about showing, like, call it anger or call it sensuality, call it vulnerability, and all of these things. Freedom is what I'm expressing in this music, so I love it.
Good for you. And so that's out in March. And then, is it the European bit of the tour starts in Dublin on the 5th of June?
It sure does.
Lovely.
We are coming.
Oh, yeah, there you are.
Boom,
yeah.
look at all those dates. I'm here.
Smiling now. Dublin the 5th of June. And talking of big fans of people, David Schwimmer, you are...
Oh, yeah, huge. I mean,
Yeah.
Fallen is one of my...
For real?
For real.
Your head is in our way.
Are you in concert in London, I assume, this summer, then?
I am.
I'll be there.
All right, because I'll be there. I'll be in
100%
Manchester.
I'll
I'll
be
be
there.
in London. You come to all of them. Come to Dublin, too. Come to Germany. Come wherever you want to
I'll
come.
be in London.
Although a very big fan.
You know, he has things to do. He's busy right now.
Listen, good luck with the tour, the
Thank
record,
you.
and thank you so much for that fabulous performance, Alicia Keys! Right, that's nearly it. But we go just time for a visit to the big red chair. Who is there? Hello, hi.
Hello.
Hi, what's your name, sir?
My name's Nick.
Nick, lovely. And where are you from, Nick?
I'm from New Zealand, but I live here.
Oh, you live here. And
Next Wednesday.
what do you do here?
I'm a paramedic.
A proper job and everything.
Yes.
We're glad you're
That's
here.
important.
Yes. OK, off you go with your story, sir.
So when I was a paramedic back in New Zealand, one Sunday afternoon, I went to a guy that chopped 3 fingers off from the lawnmower.
Ooh.
And we packaged his hand up. We had to look for his fingers in the bush and the hedge and everything like that. And we rushed him to hospital, because if they get to hospital in time, they can reattach the fingers. And on the way to hospital, I said, "You're 40 years old. How do you know not to put your hands at the bottom of a lawnmower?" And he said, "I was driving home this afternoon, and I saw that a guy had picked up the lawnmower, turned it on his side, and walked across the front of his hedge." And he said, "That's a brilliant idea. I need to do that." So he did his lawns, and then he did that. And as we turned up to hospital, we walked into resus to see the surgeon, and we walked past another person, and he said, "Hey, that's the guy I saw doing the lawnmower." And he cut off 3 of his fingers as well.
You can walk it. Walk.
He made it.
Good. OK, that really is all we've got time for. If you'd like to have a go in that red chair yourself and tell your story, you can contact us via our website at this very address. Please say a huge thank you to all of my guests tonight. Alicia Keys, everybody. Tamsin Greig. Nick Mohammed. David Schwimmer. And Mr. Mark Ruffalo. Join me next week with singer-songwriter Sam Smith, comedian Alan Carr, Strictly star Oti Mabuse, actor Anna Kendrick, and the one and only Justin Timberlake. I'll see you then. Good night, everyone. Bye.